We're having a heated debate here today with Greg and James about pre-approval of buyers and the stupid things, sorry, but some people are stupid, and the stupid things people do. And we're gonna talk about why people should or shouldn't get pre-approved before you go look for houses. So
James? The reason why you should, and in talking about vehicle loans, the differences are this. In a mortgage, you're dealing, like I said, with a underwriter who is federally regulated and under the umbrella. Anything he or she does is checked, not just by the office that they work at, but by the investor that's going to buy it. If they see any indiscrepancies in the underwriter's approval, they come back and ask, hey, you approved this loan, but you're missing this, and this. Right. That's when they contact me, the lender, and say, we need this, and this.
Right.
And then I argue, well, how come you didn't ask for it before, right? Okay, that's lending for you. Okay, it's not perfect.
Right.
But in the car industry, the reason why you can go buy a BMW right now for $100,000 and be at 70% debt to income is because they don't care. They're gonna give you the car no matter what, as long as you show that you've got money.
Right, I understand that.
You've got money? Okay, perfect. There you go, get the car.
Right.
I went and bought a $100,000 truck. Did they check my income? Nope. I just put what I made and they said, okay, fine.
Right.
No pay stubs, no nothing.
Correct.
In the mortgage world, you make $100,000, show me.
Correct. No, I agree with you. I agree with you 100%.
When you take a client out yourself and they tell you, oh yeah, Greg, I make $100,000 a year. I got 800 FICO scores according to Credit Karma, blah, blah, blah. In your mind, you're like, who? Money. You take them out to see a house for $500,000, $600,000. Payment's gonna be around $3,000, somewhere around there. Then you bring them to me. James, I got this buyer. Pre-approve him. I already found a house for him. I already got the contract and everything. I run credit. Well, guess what? That 800 plus FICO score is only a 625.
Right.
Now I'm gonna tell you, Greg, he don't qualify.
Correct.
So you just got his or her hopes up.
So here's what
and you just went like, oh man, there goes $15,000.
So here's where I think our disconnect is. I don't believe in asking them initially what they're pre-approved for, because that sets a very nasty taste in their mouth. I'll take them out to see a couple properties, because what I've found since I stopped asking, are you pre-approved? My buyers have gone, everything's gone straight up business-wise, because I'm making the personal connection first, not the money connection. I don't care about the money connection. I care about the personal connection. So when I take them out to look at a couple properties, and what I've found with all these buyers that I've taken out is they're looking in the range that they know that they're going to qualify for. They're not looking in 6, 7, 800,000. They're looking in 2, maybe 300,000. And we don't write any contracts until I have a pre-approval. So we're going to take them out 1 or 2 times, let them look and see what they like and see what fits them. And then we'll have the pre-approval talk. After that, we'll get to that conversation. But I think the biggest turnoff for a lot of buyers is asking them that initial question: are you pre-approved, before you even get to know them or take them out. Make that personal connection, make that personal touch, and then work the pre-approval question in after you've built a little bit of a relationship with them. Because once you build that relationship, they're going to take that person that's not grinding them about their money, that wants to build that relationship first. They're going to do business with that guy over the ones that, are you pre-approved, are you ready to go? Because it just sets a different precedence.
So I've had that conversation just like you just did, and someone did tell me, what does it matter if I'm approved or not? And I said, listen, first of all, I'm not the enemy here. I'm here to help you get into a home. Okay? That's my prerogative. It's not about making money, I said. It's about me getting you into a home. Because if I get you into a home, you're going to love me. You're going to say, James did his job.
Absolutely.
And you're going to refer me. So what I tell buyers, prospective buyers, is I live off of referrals. You refer me to one, I'm happy. But if I do a bad job, you refer me to 100 saying don't go to him.
Correct.
So why I always pre-approve someone, and I understand what you do, which is good. You don't write an offer.
No.
You're the exception to the rule, because a lot of agents do make offers.
So that's a mistake.
So what I do, because I do both sides, I meet with them on the lender side.
Right.
And as their realtor. So I'm already establishing what you have to establish by taking them out first.
Correct.
So by the time that I tell them, okay, let's get you pre-approved now, they're super comfortable in giving me all their
Correct.
information.
But there's a lot of agents that aren't lenders as well.
No.
Well,
That's
but
a big difference.
here's the other thing that I feel in, my over 20 years of experience with this is, and I kind of agree with both of you, because back in the day, a lot of times people didn't care if you were pre-approved. Here, you can't even, present an offer without a pre-approval
Yeah.
letter, which is a good thing in a lot of respects. But I feel like as agents, the more we stay educated, we know what that debt to income ratio should be. We kind of know what people's lifestyle should be. If you know those questions to ask when you're, out with your buyer, I agree. Sometimes it is nicer to say, let's go out and look at a house. Let's, get a feel for what they actually are looking for. But again, I don't want to set up their expectations thinking they can qualify for a $400,000
Yeah.
house, and then you find out they can only get a $250,000 house.
To me, that goes into the skill, and we all know a lot of people don't have it. That goes into the skill of knowing how to read people.
Yeah.
Now, with having a casino background, I was trained for decades as to how to read people, how to read their language, how to.
So we're not
and some
playing
people are just born with
We're
it
not
too.
playing poker then.
No.
Why not? Come
No.
on.
Absolutely not.
Come on.
No.
It's literally just learning how to read people, learn to read their bodily actions, their what their mind's thinking, watch their reactions, learn how they function, learn how to read what they do, and that'll tell you when you can ease that question in. Because a lot of times, and that's the reason I use the car thing. When you go to a car lot, they don't ask you,
care.
do you want to, are you pre-approved for this before they let you drive this?
Right.
So let's get them into a couple houses, get the juices flowing, get their minds thinking, and then we're gonna go. Okay, we've seen a couple houses here. Let's make sure that we're in the right frame of where we're looking for. Because, like I said, most agents aren't lenders. They don't do both. So you have an advantage in that situation, which is thank God. That's awesome. I love that. I think that's a fantastic thing for you that you have that advantage. But a lot of realtors don't. So what I'm saying is the ones that want to create those relationships, and you can get to that point. It only takes you to go out and show one or two houses. Listen, where are we at in the approval process, and the way you work that in is, when we're ready to write this offer, I got to have a pre-approval of some time to submit with this offer. So I just want to make sure that we have that. If it's a cash purchase, proof of funds, I don't need to know everything you make.
Yeah.
If it's a loan, I just need a pre-approval from your lender so that when we're ready to write that offer, I have something to submit that with. Oh, okay, great. Yeah, who do I need to talk to? Boom. So you already worked that question in, and now it's smooth because it shows them the reason you're asking that question is because you need that information to submit that with your offer so that they have a chance to get to the house that they want. That's the whole point of that. Everybody's different.
They are.
And that's the beauty of this thing is I come from an area where I don't believe people should have to think alike. I believe they're different for different reasons because everybody brings different things to the table.
Well,
And when you put that together, it's a
very
good thing.
different. Yeah. I even had like a young guy this last summer, that came to me, said, oh my gosh, works in the, industry in California, but he lives here, wants to buy a house here. He's like, I've made way too much money. I made like over $300,000 last year. He says, I really want to buy a house. I'm like, great. I'm like, why don't you get pre-approved? Let's see what you can qualify for. Because he's like 23, 24 years old. And come to find out, he has a decent credit score, but he has zero money to put down. He doesn't have, he's got some debt because he's, just bought some toys. He's just kind of blown his money.
Yeah.
And he doesn't, really qualify, for the house that he thought he was going to be able to qualify for. So it's like, even though this kid has made $300,000, he can't even qualify for a $100,000 home right now until he cleans up a few things and, gets some of those toys paid off or sold or whatever he decides to do with it. So it's like that misconception I think that a lot of people have too.
Yeah.
Of what they can qualify for.
Yeah. And that's the problem. And Credit Karma is a good tool to have, but if a buyer really wants to buy, do not go off of Credit Karma.
No.
Get with the lender, get your credit ran, and see what your scores really are.
I completely agree. To me, Credit Karma is like the ballpark idea of what your score is.
Yeah.
It's not your exact score.
It's kind of like if we as agents were to rely on Zillow for value.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Okay. We go on to Zillow to see when we get a low appraisal and we see that our appraisal came in lower than Zillow. That's when we our horns come on and say, no.
Right.
And you contact the appraiser, look at what Zillow says and look at what you said.
Right.
There's a disconnect here. Mm-hmm. Buyers have that as well. They will argue with you. But look, I've had clients send me screenshots
Yeah.
of 810, 830, 840, and I'm at 675, 800, at 700.
It's a big difference.
Yeah.
You know, it's huge difference. So, in my experience with buyers, it's better to not take them out to see a home that they're gonna fall completely. Like Property Brothers does that, and then you break their heart, and they're like, "Oh God, now I gotta go settle for a puppy house." That's kind of where I kind of want to avoid that, because I've had that situation before where I've taken people out, not pre-approving them to test those waters, taken them out based on what they said, and I've lost them because I break their heart. So it could be a sword with two
Double-edged
edges.
sword. Yeah, I get it.
And it could work for you or it could backfire.
Absolutely.
In my experience, I'd rather take that shot up front. If I'm going to lose you, then I'm going to lose you. But if not, I'm going to get you into a home.
Right.
You know, so pre-approval is important for that
I agree.
aspect of the transaction. I'm not going to dispute your technique, because it could also work, you know, depending on the buyer's strength, mental strength, I should say. You know, so both ways of the way that you do your business, the way that I do my business, they're not wrong.
No, I agree with you. I think they both work depending on how you. It depends on how you set it up. What works, everybody's stuff works for them differently. So what works for me might not work for you. What works for you might not work for her. Right. I mean, it's the way you set it up as to what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. I've taken people out on wild goose chases, and then something falls through, and that's, you know what? That's just the nature. That I accept that. A lot of people don't want to go through that, and I respect that too. You know, I mean, it's just. To me, it's a lot of just what works for you and in your business, what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a lot.
And it's very important for a buyer to know exactly where they stand, so that when you send them houses, they understand that that's what they are going to be looking at.
Right.
Now, once you find the house and you make the offer and you get it into contract, and I start working on the loan, that is where I tell agents that I'm doing only loans for. And as well as my clients, I tell them what not to do while we're in the transaction.
Correct.
Okay? If we need to pay off debt to qualify, you do not pay off the debt at that time, unless the underwriter specifically says, go ahead and do it. But if the underwriter says, no, don't do it, you don't pay anything off to try to get a higher FICO score, because what will happen is your score will drop. So when we do the soft pull near the end of the deal, when we do the credit check, and we compare the scores need to remain the same, or at least let it go up during those 30 days that we're working on the loan. You don't let buyers go buy, not even what I tell some of my clients, don't even buy a tortilla. All right, on credit. If you don't have the money, don't buy it.
Correct.
Because anything you put on your credit is going to ding you 5 to 10 points. And if we're already there at that threshold where we need that FICO score to stay to get you that interest rate, and you go and you do something, guess what? That interest rate just got higher.
Yep.
Yeah.
And right now, during these times, and I hadn't seen it before, not like I have today, FICO score is extremely important now.
It is ridiculously
because
important.
Even a 720 FICO score is not good enough.
No, not anymore.
Okay, you need to be in the 800s now to be able to get a low rate. You know, still anything above a 680, you're getting good interest rates. Anything below that, they're decent. They're not too bad either. You know, conventional loans are always going to be, rates are going to be higher. FHA is always going to be lower. You know, so buyers should not go buy a furniture, not go buy a car, not buy nothing on credit.
I agree with you.
They don't buy anything until you as the agent give them the key.
And I think a lot of people get away from that. I really do. And what I mean by that is there's a lot of agents, that, especially new agents, that are very uneducated on stuff like that. They don't understand that. And your job as an agent is still to protect your buyer at all costs and guide them in that process to get them to the finish line. We want them to make it to the finish line. Then once you're at the finish line, go shopping, go crazy, have fun, have a blast.
It's part of our duties owed.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Of accountability and financial responsibility with the buyer. Because what happens is a lot of agents, and I'm not going to talk bad about agents, but in my past, I've done the same thing. If I wasn't a lender, forget about it. I wouldn't even follow up until I was going to give him the key. And that's what some agents do. You go show houses, you make the offer, you do the home inspection, wash your hands, and you just wait until the lender calls you and says, hey, we're about to close. Oh, good. Let me put my hat back on and let me get back to work. So what I told agents is this. You and I work as a team. I might forget to say something, but I'm gonna instruct you what to say and what to do for this buyer so that we are both tackling and taking care of him or her.
Right.
So I always tell my agents, make sure they don't buy nothing. Because more than likely they're gonna call you more than they're gonna call me.
Absolutely.
They don't want to talk to me because they're scared.
That's very true.
Okay, so they're gonna call you, the agent. Hey, Greg, when do you think I can go buy some furniture? And that's when you're gonna tell them, when I give you your key.
Right.
Hey, Greg, when can I go buy a new car? When I give you your key. Right. Your answer is always, when I give you the key.
Absolutely.
Never before.
I agree.
And you can also say, don't be afraid to talk to your lender. He's your friend. He's there to help you. You know, I've had clients of my own not want to call me on the loan side, and I call them back and I say, hey, you know, you haven't called me. Right. Is everything okay? Are we still doing this deal or what? Well, I didn't want to call you because I'm kind of scared. I'm like, am I that scary?
He's such a mean guy. He's such a mean guy.
He is. We had to make him take his guns off before I sat down.
No, actually, no, I still got one.
There you go.
But that's the important stuff, because we do pull credit at the very end. And it's very important that buyers not do anything to jeopardize their chances of buying a home.
Right.
I've had close calls in the past, and as a lender, you don't want to give someone the news that because you didn't listen to me and you went and you bought a car, well, enjoy your car.
Yeah. That's your house. Have fun.
Yeah.
And then I gotta call you, the agent, and say, Greg, I'm sorry, they went and bought a car, you didn't do your job either, so guess what, we both failed.
Yeah.
Deal's dead.
Yeah, and so was the earnest money. That's gone too. By that point.
Probably.
Yeah, by that
Depending
point.
where you're
Well, the one thing that I learned in my previous brokerage was this. That contingency period, the 30-day contingency period for the loan, you always want to keep extending it.
Okay.
The reason why is because that 30-day contingency protects the buyer's earnest money.
Okay.
Because why? Because a lot of agents think that 30-day contingency is to get an approval.
Yeah.
It's not.
Okay, it's not.
No.
It's for the entire loan process. Correct. And there are some lenders that work backwards. I work forward. I work where I run your credit, I get your income documentation, I pre-approve you, we originate the loan once you have a property, we submit conditions, we get the clear to close, and then we close. Other lenders will accumulate all the conditions, order the appraisal, get the package complete, and then submit it to the lender.
Yes.
And we're talking 10, 20 days
Right.
into the transaction.
Right.
So as an agent, you're like, oh my God,
Yeah, right.
Right.
where are you on this? Where are you on this? Whereas with me, you already know. They're approved already. I don't got to tell you, well, I'm still collecting documentation
Right.
to get them pre-approved
Right.
or to get them approved. No. And the thing about me, when I do a loan, we call it a pre-approval, but I'm pretty much approving the buyer.
Right.
It's just a matter of just give me what I need and we're going to close your deal. Okay? I do a full credit and income, verification. I don't just do an income only and then worry about the credit later or vice versa. So you want to get with a lender that does the whole thing and your buyer's going to be ready to go. Because if not, you're spinning their wheels and yours.
And your time, which
Yeah.
you can never get back.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Great. Well, thanks, you guys. This was amazing
before I wrap
and
it up,
informative.
this guy's got an amazing beard. Look at that thing. It's so nice and shiny and smooth. Look at that.
It only takes him like a half an hour. It probably takes him longer to do his beard than it does my hair.
Well, between my hair and my beard, it's about maybe 20 minutes.
I think
Is
he's
that
got
why
his
you were
own-
late?
No, I was late because I was actually dealing with some fires, but Yeah,
See,
no,
he's a
this was not part
firefighter
of it.
too. I'm telling you, this guy's got his own
fire.
makeup artist. He's got his own hair and beard guy. I
Well-
need to get like this guy.
Well, I'm also a marriage officiant. So if you guys want to get married anytime, I can do it.
I already got that taken care of.
Oh well, good. for
But
you.
good to know because we might need that.
Yeah, I'll marry you.
Wow.
That's
Look at
good
this
to
guy.
know. I like that.
We won't do it if you shave that beard.
Yeah, you gotta have the
Gotta have
Oh no, I'm leaving the beard.
This is a new phase, game change.